There is a line in Acres of Diamonds that honestly surprised me. The author said he sometimes pitied the children of rich people. And when I first read that, I thought, why would anybody pity them? Are they not the lucky ones? They grow up comfortable, they have connections, they have money, they have opportunities that most people would pray for. What exactly is there to pity? But the deeper I sat with his arguments, the more uncomfortable it became. Because he wasn't talking about money. He was talking about what happens to a human being when life never forces them to become useful. He said they would never get to experience the feeling of ownership, the feeling of building something from scratch by yourself. And honestly, that lesson applies to way more people today than we think. One thing I need to make clear before people misunderstand this is that Conwell was not against wealth. In fact, the entire book encourages people to build wealth. But he noticed something dangerous. A lot of people inherit comfort without inheriting discipline. They inherit money, but they never develop initiative. And because survival was never urgent for them, they never discover what they are actually capable of. Now, because pressure changes people, responsibility sharpens people, being needed matures people. But when somebody is constantly protected from difficulty, they can slowly become emotionally weak without realizing it. And you can see that everywhere today. Some people have talent, they have education, they have access, but they cannot tolerate discomfort. They quit quickly, they quit easily. They avoid difficult work, they delay responsibility, they romanticize success without respecting effort. And over time, they become dependent on comfort. That is what Conwell was warning about. It was not poverty versus wealth. It was comfort versus development. One of the hardest truths in life is this. Some people become powerful because life demanded something from them early. Not because suffering is magical, not because poverty is beautiful, but because responsibility forced growth. A young person who has to help their family early often learns discipline, resilience, resourcefulness, urgency, and problem solving. Meanwhile, someone else may spend years avoiding responsibility completely. And eventually, something strange happens. The person with less advantage becomes more capable. You see this in real life all the time. Sometimes the most reliable person in a company is not the most privileged one. It is the person who learned early that excuses don't pay bills. And I think this is important for any young person who might be watching this. A lot of people hate where they are in life. But sometimes the very difficulties you complain about are building abilities that comfortable people never develop. The ability to adapt, the ability to survive, the ability to solve problems under pressure, the ability to work without applause. Those traits become valuable later. When I mean valuable, I mean very valuable. The scariest thing about comfort is that it rarely feels dangerous. It feels safe. That is why it is difficult to notice. A person slowly gets used to convenience. They avoid difficult tasks. They stop stretching themselves. They stop learning deeply. They stop building endurance, and eventually they lose their edge. What is dangerous is that modern life encourages this. Everything is becoming optimized for comfort. Fast entertainment, fast validation, fast dopamine, fast opinions, fast success culture. People now want the appearance of success more than the substance of competence. And the author's point becomes painfully relevant here. If a person never learns to become useful, life will become very fragile. Because eventually the world asks everybody the same question. What value can you actually provide? Not what you post, not what you dream about, not what you wish you deserved. but what you can genuinely do. And eventually that question exposes everybody. Another thing I love about Acres of Diamonds is that underneath all the old stories, it keeps returning to usefulness. The people who succeed are usually people who solve problems. Not necessarily the loudest people, not necessarily the most educated people, not necessarily the people pretending to be important online, but useful people. The mechanic who becomes dependable, the designer who communicates clearly, the teacher who explains things simply, the barber everybody trusts, the writer who helps people to think better. Usefulness creates opportunity. And honestly, this changes the way you see success, because success stops becoming fantasy. It now becomes practical. Instead of asking, how do I become rich? You now start asking, how do I become deeply valuable? And that is a completely different mindset. And most people never make that shift. They chase attention instead of usefulness, but attention fades. Useful people remain necessary. There is also something emotional hidden inside Conwell's observation. A person who never earns anything often struggles to appreciate anything. Not always, but often. Because effort creates emotional connection. People value what they build. That is why someone who worked for years to buy a small car may appreciate it more than someone who was handed a luxury car at 18. One person sees an object, the other person sees sacrifice. And that difference matters. And honestly, I think this is one reason many people feel empty today. They consume things constantly without building anything meaningful. And human beings are not designed to only consume. We are designed to contribute, to create, to solve, to build. Without that, people will slowly feel disconnected from themselves. When Russell Conwell said he pitied rich people's children, he was not glorifying struggle or glorifying poverty. He was warning us about something deeper. A life without responsibility can quietly weaken a person. And the real tragedy is not lacking money. The real tragedy is reaching adulthood without discipline, without usefulness, without inner strength, without knowing what value you can bring into the world. That is the real poverty he was talking about. And honestly, that lesson feels even more relevant now than when this book was written. Because today, many people are trying to escape difficulty, while difficulty is often the very thing that is developing them. And maybe that's one of the deepest ideas in Acres of Diamonds. The goal is not just to find opportunity. The goal is to become the kind of person who can actually handle opportunity. My name is Joy Nkiruka, and I read, so you stop thinking small. If this video educated you, please subscribe, share the video, and I'll see you in the next part.